Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Sam Dunn back in the banger hangar for a new Overkill reviews. Good to be here. What have I been up to? Well, enjoying summer. Finally has arrived in Toronto, and I've been not enjoying this. Yeah, that happened. What's the takeaway? Careful when you go down the stairs in the dark, children. Beware. Anyway, that kind of sucks. Looking forward to some metal in Toronto under the summer sky. Maiden's coming, Slipknot and Gojira are coming, which I am super stoked about. But the reason why I'm here is because, well, there's an album that's coming out that is really completely, totally unsummery. Is that even a word? Unsummer-like. It's this. That, my friends, is the sound of the brand new album from our man from the cold reaches of Norway, Abbath. Abbath? I call him Abbath. We'll always call him Abbath. His brand new album released today on Season of Mist is called Outstrider. And given that his debut record, self-titled back in 2016, was my favorite metal album of that year, back in the day, remember when we gave them skull ratings with the two skulls that went on the bar? Those were old days. I gave it 2 big glass skulls, and I really liked the debut effort, so let's dig into the sophomore release. I think we're all pretty much in the know here. I don't really need to give the full history of Abbath and Immortal, but suffice to say, Immortal formed in 91, put out a slew of records, establishing themselves really as one of the stalwarts of the Norwegian black metal scene. Abbath, of course, was the frontman and one of the principal songwriters. Fast forward a bunch of years later, and Demonaz and Abbath have a bit of a falling out, and Abbath outstrides out on his own in 2015 and releasing the first record in 2016. So that's the mini history. Here's the new record. Now, I gotta say, going into this record, expectations for me are pretty high because I really did like that debut effort from Abbath. I really liked the sound of the record, the production and the drums and the guitars, and it just sort of made me realize that Abbath really is such a great character in contemporary metal. He's the guy that gives black metal that rock and roll vibe, and I really liked the sound of that debut because it pushed away from sort of the orthodoxy of black metal and really what Immortal had done for a long time. So coming into this record, expectations are high, and you know what? It's a pretty damn good record, and frankly, it kind of feels like an extension of the first. The production's a little bit different. The drum tone is a lot bigger. It doesn't have that super woody snare sound from the first record. The guitars are a little bigger, and even the bass has a bit more presence. Interestingly, there's 3 new members in the band, so Abbath is kind of clean shop, and he's got a brand new band up there to take this album on the road. But all in all, really like the sound of this record. I really liked the approach in the guitars, particularly seems to be a little bit more melody and solo work on this album. Within the first few songs, you're already hearing some sort of quasi-lead work, which isn't really something you heard a lot of on that first album. So similar to the first record, this album has those sort of atmospheric, frostbitten guitars that we know and love from Abbath, and you know, he's already putting his stamp, his trademark on that kind of 4 on the floor, much more rock feel that we heard on the first record, where we're kind of quickly pivoting from super, super fast blast beats and intensity into these really kind of rocking moments on the album, and I'm a big sucker for them. The other thing I want to mention that Abbath seems to be putting a stamp on is what I might call the death frog croak, because at the top of Bridge of Spasms, the second track, there sort of emerges this And at first you're like, what? I'm not sure what that is. Is that a synthesizer? Is it someone groaning? Well, it's Abbath delivering sort of a new little vocalization that we've maybe heard traces of from him on previous records, but now he's sort of developed this new type of death croak just to add to that frosty vibe. Apart from that, real standouts for me are the title track, Outstrider. I really love Sidewinder because it's, again, got one of those great tempo shifts, and Pace Till Death, the closing track, is pretty cool for those of you in the know. That's a Bathory cover from way, way back. So, what is it? 9 songs, 39 minutes. Doesn't waste much time. It's a pretty lean effort. Let's go to the bad. So I think, for a lot of us that like black metal, like Immortal, like Abbath, the difference between whether you really like this record or kind of like this record is whether you want your black metal to sort of be AC/DC in the sense that it never really changes, or you want your black metal to be like a David Bowie where every album is completely different. And without question, Outstrider is in the AC/DC model. Like I said at the outset, really, there's not that much different about Outstrider compared to the first album, except for some slight tweaks in the production. Yeah, a little bit more lead and melodic work in the guitar, but beyond that, it just sort of feels like, debut album part 2. But for me, that ain't such a bad thing, because Abbath, as I said in my last review, one of the best characters we have in metal today. Many have called him the Robin Williams of black metal.
So I'm going to take a quickie licky, wicked leak.
And basically, he's gone on record saying he wants to bring black metal back to black metal. 1982, the Venom record, when it had a bit more of that rock and roll vibe. And I guess, given, I'm Papa Dunn, I'm old enough to be there from when that record first came out, it works for me. So, all in all, solid record. Not a sensational record, not an album that's going to blow the roof off the place, but a solid record. I give it 4 out of 5 skulls. But before we go, I want to give a shout out to a couple of other big metal releases coming out today. First, Dave Ellefson releases his first solo album called Sleeping Giants on Combat. Now that is a classic underground metal label. And Immortal Bird, no coincidence, I guess, releasing their album Thrive on Neglect on 20 Buck Spin. Haven't heard it, but I'm hearing a lot of buzz. That's it from me. We'll see you next time. Hopefully the air boot is off by that time and we can talk about the Maiden and Gojira shows. See you next time.
It's not whether you win or you lose, it's how good you look.